What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quarter. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. It looks like perhaps the walls may be closing in as new reports show that Stanford partnered with Twitter and the Biden administration to hide true stories of bad effects of the poke, at least this according to new Twitter files and the Post Millennial, as well as coming on the heels of a bombshell report from PV yesterday. And I know, however, it's extremely important internal documents were also revealed from the company that makes the thing that is also very, very spicy. This, of course, this video, will be buried in the YouTube algorithm. So if you're watching right now, make sure you leave a like on it, you share it, and so it gets out there and maybe can break the chains of the algorithm. And we're going to get right into that after a super quick word from this video's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, it's 2023. If you don't have a VPN, you're missing out on a ton of benefits. Not just a more secure connection, but if you're paying for Netflix, Disney Plus, or any other streaming service, you're already getting locked out of a ton of additional content that you could be enjoying if you used a VPN. And since they've been sponsoring the channel so long, they've rolled out a massive discount for my viewers. That's right, 84% off plus 4 months free. It's $2.03 a month, 4 months free, 84% off. Private Internet Access also offers privacy on all your devices, lightning fast global server network. And look, outside of all the additional content you're going to be able to view out there using Private Internet Access, it also has a strict no logs policy. It's open source. It has state-of-the-art updates. It's instant to set up. You can put it on all of your devices, your tablet, your computer, your mobile phones. It has unlimited bandwidth and so much more. If you don't have a VPN yet, make today the day. Use my link in the description to get Private Internet Access, start being more secure, and unlock loads more content. So breaking, Stanford partnered with Twitter and the Biden administration to censor stories of true poke potential side effects, according to the latest Twitter files. Matt Taibbi has unearthed still more evidence of collusion and censorship at Twitter, all done by people and institutions who believe that they were righteous in their efforts to ban and block Americans from telling the truth about their own personal experiences with the poke. This time, it's Stanford University and their virality project, which told officials what information should be banned. And we've seen this before now in various parts of these files where certain three-letter agencies seem to be working with private corporations or universities to really keep people's mouths shut. Again, to, protect multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical companies. It's very difficult to really wrap your head around just how evil all of this stuff is. Taibbi reports that the Stanford's project took issue with accounts that used factual information to question any, quote, expert guidance of Dr. Anthony Fauci, former head of the NIAID. He notes that accounts that, quote, questioned certain origin stories, instead suggesting that it could have potentially escaped, were suspect per Stanford. That quote, or that the escape theory is now the primary origin theory per officials. Well, several officials, right? So you see this in Matt Taibbi's thread. The release of Dr. Anthony Fauci's spring 2020 emails has been used to exacerbate distrust in Dr. Fauci, increase distrust in Fauci's expert guidance. Part three, reports of people who got the poke also getting sick anyway, quote, natural immunity, quote, or suggesting that it possibly leaked, even quote, worrisome jokes became things that needed to be censored. Accounts that purported that they had some sort of natural immunity and that it was a good protection against the coof, if not better, were also suspect, as well as what the project called worrisome jokes. Over the past few years, jokes have gotten many accounts in trouble with Twitter censors, and some of the mainstream media outlets question whether or not satire itself was an actionable offense. All of these, Taibbi report, were characterized as potential violations or disinformation events by the project, a sweeping cross-platform effort to monitor billions of social media posts by Stanford University, federal agencies, and a slew of often state-funded NGOs. Again, this is more evidence of, having our own government here in the United States anyway, if you're a United States citizen. I suspect similar things are going on all around the world, infringing on our rights to freedom of speech here for, I don't know, the greater good. The project had targeted, quote, stories of true side effects. So if somebody had an actual, like you could say, Jimmy Dore, for example, or many other people who have talked about it publicly, they were ostracized, called deniers, all conspiracy theorists, all this kind of stuff. They targeted true stories of side effects as actionable content, meaning to remove it. In 2021, they worked with the government to launch a pan-industry monitoring plan for COOF-related content. At least 6 major internet platforms were, quote, onboarded to the same ticketing system, sending millions of items for review. The project wasn't always right themselves. Instead, they were driven by bias, making huge assumptions, and leaning into their own belief in the narrative that was not proven, but simply assumed to be accurate despite increasingly visible inconsistencies. For Taibbi, the uncovering of Stanford's project accelerated the evolution of digital censorship, moving it from judging truth/untruth to a new, scarier model, openly focusing on political narrative at the expense of fact. In fact, many of those accounts and tweets targeted by the project and identified to Twitter as misinformation were factual accounts from individual Americans about their experience with the poke. Stanford's project told Twitter that true stories could fuel hesitancy, including things like celebrities passing away after getting it, or the closure of a central New York school due to reports of post-poke illness, should be considered, quote, standard misinformation on your platform. Again, so it said, even if it's true, you should be censoring it. And this isn't just Twitter, almost assuredly, it's also Facebook, YouTube, anywhere else in Silicon Valley. They further said that Americans posted concerns about poke passports and mandates, which were implemented in New York, San Francisco, Seattle, and other locales, drove a larger anti-poke narrative about the loss of rights and freedoms. Truth repeatedly was labeled a disinformation event if the truth caused any kind of skepticism, among others. You see here, the VP warned against the project, warned against people simply asking questions, applying that it was a tactic commonly used by spreaders of misinformation. It also described a worldwide rally for freedom planned over Telegram as a disinformation project. Now, the pokes were first come to the market in a rush to find a cure that emerged, blah, blah, blah. We know some cities made them mandatory in order for citizens to participate in public life. And it soon became clear on social media that questioning its usefulness or noting any side effects from it would be a bannable offense. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was banned for Twitter for sharing statistics from a public or a medical database, which is a government tool in which citizens can report side effects. It is what doctors and officials rely on for collective information about unintended side effects. But for Twitter and media who were intent on making sure no questions were asked, posting those stats was not permitted. This on the very heels of a confidential documents coming from Pfizer revealed that the pharmaceutical giant had, quote, evidence suggesting that there was some increased risk of the M word following the poke in early 2022. Quote, There is evidence that suggests patients who receive this are at an increased risk of this side effect. Quote, onset was typically within several days of the poke from both Pfizer and Moderna, and cases have occurred more often after the second dose than the first dose. So these are the actual documents that have been leaked, and you can see since April 2021, increased cases of these things have been reported in the United States. This is their own documentation. The pattern of cases conform as per the label to a pattern of cases occurring in a majority of young males below 29 within the first 2 weeks. Reported cases have occurred predominantly in males, young adults, onset typically within several days of the poke, and cases have occurred more often after the second dose. The observed risk is higher among males under 40 years of age among females and older than among females and older males. Observed risk is highest in males 12 to 17 teenagers. I mean, these are their own findings. Now, look, I don't think, quite frankly, these things, most things have side effects in life, not just in pharmaceuticals. But these things, I know people aren't happy with Project Veritas for fair reasons, but this is kind of a big deal. And of course, they have the full documents on their website. It seems like a justification to avoid the deal, which made Pfizer, that was made with Pfizer, that shields them for liability. I mean, I don't know whatever the reasonable percentage is for people, but certainly people, if they had this issue, if they had any kind of, issues, health issues after that, you would think that they'd be entitled to sue, especially if they didn't know about it, or if it was if that information was hidden from them, which we see Twitter and the Biden administration and others looks like allegedly colluded to do so by using used Stanford University and a wide variety of other things. This is all going to unravel over the next couple of years, and I'm going to make sure I stay on top of the story here. And all I ask is that you help, especially on these stories, by sharing the videos, leaving likes on them, using the share button down below, putting it out on social media, because we know, we're an uphill battle getting this message out there. I hope you were informed by this video. If you were, please make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.